Hello and welcome to this edition of Campus Walks. Campus Walks is an initiative to unravel the majestic world of a campus which imparts higher techno-managerial education. It comprises of the governance framework which ensures the core deliverance of techno-managerial education, the key infrastructural assets which a campus must possess to impart quality education, the systems and processes and pedagogies which are so very important, the various experimentations which go on in developing the intellectual capital within a campus, and most importantly the larger interfaces with which a campus has to undergo, the socio-economic and regulatory ecosystem, the interfaces to which a campus ensures the deliverance of quality techno-managerial education. Today we are at United Group of Institutions located in the prestigious Knowledge Park, which is considered to be Asia's largest knowledge park, housing somewhere to the tune of 100 institutions in the city of Greater Noida. Not very far away from here we have got the prestigious Yamuna Expressway, which connects the city of Greater Noida to the city of Taj Mahal. The national capital is not very far away from here. It's just a half an hour drive from the United Group campus. Incepted in the year 1951 in the holy city of Prayag as a provincial transport company, the United Group forayed into education some 23 years ago. Today we have with us Ms. Mona Gulati Puri, the Director of Corporate Relationship Center at United Group, who would take us through this campus walk of ours. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you, Raghav. Thanks.
So this is a quite a chilly morning, cloudy morning. We had expected some bright sunlight today. So ma'am, this is a sprawling campus, like it's coming out really majestic. We would like to go through first of all in this United College of Engineering and Research. How come you named this as United College of Engineering and Research? It's quite remarkable.
Raghav, the thing is, over here, first of all, I would like to tell you that the three campuses over here, the first one which Raghav is talking about is United College of Engineering and Research, because it's technical education as well as our country needs research, PhD scholars and all. That's what we are planning for, a research center also, and we have a separate research center over here so that we can educate as well as give the society a research scholars, which is right now the demand of our country, which our country lacks. That is why it is called the education, the college as well as a research center, so that it goes on and carries something to the society.
I think this is quite uncanny about the engineering education in the country, when most of the institutions just have engineering and technology as their prefixes and suffixes. United College has certainly put very strongly and bravely the suffix of research with their name, talking about their core mandate. So we will now be on and visiting the United College of Engineering and Research. Cut. I am standing in front of the mural of Shri Shivram Das Gulati ji, who was the founder of the United Group. He happens to be the grandfather of Ms. Mona Gulati Puri. Shivram Das ji had incepted the United Provincial Transport Company, the legacy of which the United Group was carrying so far, and that entire United Group of Institutions is run under the SRD Trust, which is named after Shri Shivram Das Gulati ji. Ma'am, would you like to tell us more about the vision and the energy with which of your grandfather he laid the foundations of such an illustrious group?
I think so. It travels down the line what vision he had for the United Group, and that it comes in the blood, you can say, or it was transferred to the sons and later on to the grandsons they are looking after. It's a whole family, and I really would like to acknowledge over here, yes, my grandfather, our grandfather had a good vision, that he started the United Group in somewhere right 1951, as Raghav told right now, and over here we land to the group of institutions which came after a long time, but the vision, the expansion, and it's all because because of him only, which we are the family, as a family, taking on and carrying forward these things.
It's really important that the subsequent generations are venerating the contributions of their great founders. These are the values and ethics which certainly flow in the genes of the United group of institutions, the entire management, and probably the entire students and the entire education which comes through with it. Thank you. Now we are entering the United College of Engineering and Research, which is housed in Block C of this campus. Ma'am, what all this building houses, what all departments and what all infrastructure facilities this block has?
This particular United College of Engineering and Research has all the department, all the branches like for civil, mechanical, CS, computer sciences, information technology, electronics and communication, then electrical. These all are under this umbrella only. And in this particular block, we can say that we have the administrative department, a bit of principal's office, labs, all the labs, that is computer science has a different lab, electrical has its own lab, mechanical also have the lab in the 5th floor, and there are like separate seminar halls, AV rooms for all the projector rooms for all the department, and the classrooms, which can be more than like 70 to 70 classrooms apart from the seminar, the conference halls and the labs. So right now we are standing over here, and that is it.
So let's go and have a look at the fabulous, exciting infrastructure within this United College of Engineering and Research, which is housed in Block C of this campus. We are now standing in front of the computer center of the United College of Engineering and Research. Ma'am, what kind of computing facilities you have got out here?
We have a proper networking, a Wi-Fi infra, Wi-Fi building, in which is Wi-Fi is provided in the hostel as well as all the blocks like C, A and B, as well as in the auditoriums also. And over here it has networking, like we can say we have 20 Mbps and it is all on fiber, and we have a separate department computer in each department. We have a separate computer cell there also, so that the department can do their personal requirement, handle all the queries over there. And on the 3rd floor also we have one more computer, and in totality if we say, we can say about approx 500 systems, we can say the students are sharing 500 systems in all, we can say that we have it over here.
Have you got some kind of an IT policy which is governing the entire IT governance at your institution?
Yeah, we have a proper IT cell kind of a thing, and like what we say, the protocol, it is headed by the IT department, the computer science and IT department, the faculty only itself. They have the engineers working under them who will be telling and referring back to any problems or something. And I would like to add over here, the students also, the faculty and the student relation and the nurturing of the student is such that it will be not wrong if right now I say that the students over here are capable of designing the whole website, as well as they are capable enough, and one of the projects they have come up with, that the server, what we get it outsourced from people outside, the server over here is inbuilt in-house by the students, in which we can conduct online tests and everything. And I would really appreciate over here that our students and teachers, they are really working very hard at it.
So you mean to say that you're graduating to the era where the entire IT management of the campus pertaining to your portal or internal will be managed in-house?
Without that, no college can progress or look forward. If one has a vision, one has to do it, and I would really say that yes, we are heading towards that.
That's really exciting that the college is taking a lot of pains and a lot of focus on transforming the entire computer-aided learning in this fashion. So we move on to our next destination in this building. Now we are here in the Central Library of United College of Engineering and Research. As you can see, it's quite an impressive setup, and we have with us Dr. Behra, the librarian of the Central Library at United College. Sir, how many volumes, how many books you have in this library?
So we have 70,000 volumes and 6,000 above titles we have, and we have also e-journals like IEEE and Delnet, and we are using 5,000 above titles we have already using through online databases.
What kind of usage are you seeing in the students? How this library facility is being utilized by the students of this college?
They are getting recent development and recent books using in this library, and they are very appreciative to this library, and they are much very appreciated for IEEE and Delnet. They are using more than 150 students are there using IEEE and Delnet, and they are getting recent magazines, recent titles of, recent articles of, and recent events and recent abstracts, and they are getting from IEEE and Delnet.
What all are you doing to promote the usage of the library facilities? Because this is something which will probably enhance the quality of technical education, because without self-reading or more exposure, it's not going to work. So what all is being done at an institutional level to promote the usage of the library amongst the students at large?
Actually, more than students are talking with me, and they are interested. The focus on recent articles and recent articles and recent titles of they are interested in, and they are also focus on magazines recent magazines, and they are interested to read magazines as like recent current affairs, like as like current affairs.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. Ma'am, Ma'am, you've built up a really appreciable library infrastructure, which is quite rare in the colleges at large. I really applaud you for the same. As Dr. Behra told about that, only 150 students on an average are accessing the facilities of the library. What all are you doing to promote the students in self-learning and coming to libraries and taking more advantage out of it?
I would really like to add over here, yes, technology is taking the students away from the books. They are not fond of reading, which we really feel that in communication department also we'll be heading towards that also. The soft skills and the communication is also emphasizing you read first, because that is the best part, and here we are struggling also for that because the students are not fond of. And as Dr. Behra said, e-learning and e-journals and digital library, it's again taking the students away from the library, because they can sit anywhere under the Wi-Fi atmosphere, the infra. They can just take out the laptop and see the e-journal. We also start reading the TOI in the link, whatever is forwarded. It is difficult, but yes, where for the faculty is concerned and we as an organization is concerned, we are ready and we are really taking the steps, providing the newspaper regularly, recent like updating the students and making them aware of the fact that yes, reading is very important. The faculty in all the departments, they are trying to send the students over here. We have a particular library period type of also, it's very but unnatural type in engineering colleges having, but we define a particular time period that you go to the library and sit over there and read, try to read the books, so that this like hobby used to say or the skills should not somewhere or the other wipe out of our lives.
More than the cajoling or more than the influencing part, are there certain incentivizations to the students at large when they are being lured by so many other aspects of life? Because as you rightly said, that students are going away, but this challenge has to be somewhere met out by the academic institutions by institutionalizing some or the other structural mechanisms. What all are you thinking regarding that?
This is handled by the this incentive what you are talking about or whatever. It is handled mostly by the faculty, because the trainer, the tutor, it's the mentor to the students, and they guide them that this book if you read or this particular reading habit if you develop, that will be the best whatever. So we are taking that those steps. An incentive you are talking about as an incentive, but it's actually how the mentor builds and develops this trait or this hobby in the students, and they are doing their good job. And we have a pura register maintained in which we really appreciate the students who are doing this and who are coming to the library regularly and getting the books issued. We maintain that type of a thing, and we really applaud, and some type of an appreciation to the students really helps us to build up this type of an incentive.
Just in this den of knowledge, I would add upon a question like the toll of technology is luring us all away. Having studied yourself in an era when technology was just in its incubation stages, what do you think, like in the formative years, what should be the mix between technology-enabled learning and the conventional way of learning? What is your experience regarding that?
Everything has its pros and cons. Every coin has a two sides. So the technology, we have to go according to that also, because if we want to go and capture the global market, we cannot deny the fact that we'll keep the students away from those technology. Now you have to read the books, but yes, somewhere down the line a balance has to be made, and I think so the students as well as the organization and the nation at large, kahin na kahin they come to that line and they know where they have to give it a balance kind of.
I think that's quite a balanced view, and United College in its own right would find out more innovative means and ways to promote the self-reading and self-learning which is so very vital for succeeding in engineering education. I remember my days at IIT Kharagpur, that our central library, which was recognized as world's largest, Asia's largest technical library per se. So off the campus hours, off the classroom hours, our evenings used to be in the library, and a lot of learning and a lot of peer learning, a lot of grooming happened at that place of knowledge. So we move on to our next destination.
If there is a demand of students, Sunday will be open to just on the request of the student. Again, we give it very cross at that time. We have whole day.
Yes, sir. Now we are here at the language laboratory at United College. We have with us Dr. Abha Mishra, the head of the language center out here. Ma'am, in today's time when language and communication has become the vital tool, people are talking about communication as a vital success indicator. What is the contribution of this language laboratory in the entire learning life cycle of a typical United student?
It's just a medium to help them out for language lab. It's just to attract them to the lab, that they will think, yes, I have to. Means there's a first stage to learn the language. They will come to the language lab and they will think, yes, I have to. Thereafter, the real mentoring starts. Before coming, it comes mentoring, and we keep on inspiring the students to experience the life in real term. And after that, we make them, once you have the experience of life in a beautiful way, and then you know that you will be able to express yourselves. And once expression is there, a beautiful experience is there, you will take help of this language lab, that what to choose and how to play with the language. Because once you do not have, like you have come here, and if you don't have experience, you won't come to the different labs. What will you speak in the evening? So this is what students learn.
So this isn't specifically linked to the English language per se, or language as a generic communication tool?
This is English. Even if you are taking at a generic language tool, that is also applicable with the students, because we are not, or students are not the professionals only. They have to be successful in all the terms in their personal and professional life. So if they have to get successful there in personal and professional life, they have to come to the language lab.
So what dimensions of the language you groom out here?
Dimensions like they are the first year students. They have lots of expectations from themselves. This is the time, this is the phase when they completely responsible for themselves. So the first lesson which I give to them that responsibility always, freedom always comes with responsibility. So I try to make them responsible in real sense. They feel themselves, yes, they are responsible for these 4 years of durations, because this is the most precious time, period for their student life, and they have to mentor themselves. No teaching is best than the self motivation. So once they are inspired, because here they are there to learn, basically they are coming to become engineer. Language is though it is very important, but they get very less time to focus on the language. So what we have to do, we have to make them learn language in a very silent way, that they are experiencing, they are exploring, they are getting the exposure of life in a beautiful way in the campus and off campus, and we give them exposure like that, and then they take this language as language lab as a tool, just tool.
So it's more of an anchoring base you provide to the students when they enter into the campus, as an anchoring where you give a life skill kind of a training to them, or a kind of an exposure to them. Ma'am, what you would like to say on this?
For me, taking care of the organization as a whole and the student, because it's a need of the hour, and everywhere it's quite obvious, and everybody is talking about the communication skills, the soft skills, and whosoever is concerned, if we are going after this semester, it's just a first year, and after that the 4th year the student is there, the placements and all, and this language lab and this particular soft skill development, what we are doing it over here, and the communication skills development, the personality development. It starts from here, and I think so it's very, very important right now, because everywhere people are talking about employability and employability, but they are not coming to the grassroots. It's not actually employability, it's just the communication. And as such, Raghav, you said over here, is it English or something? It's not English as such, it is how you express yourself, how you communicate. No matter the medium in any software, or in right now also we are talking, the medium is English. So English, we cannot say we are only teaching English or English development or English speaking skill, but yes, we have to adopt an medium. A medium can be English or in Hindi, but it has to be communicable. Like ma'am said, you have to share your experience. Unless and until you use a medium, and if you have to globally, you have to go, or you have to interact with the company people, yes, English is a medium. So I will say yes, it's English teaching.
Ma'am, generally, like as we generally feel like people say that there are three aspects of the language, like comprehension by various means, contemplation, which is linked to the thinking capabilities and linking to the past knowledge, and most importantly the expression part of it, both written and speaking and other ways. What do you think, like, because most of the students in this campus come from a Hindi medium background, come from the state of Uttar Pradesh, the heartland of Hindi, what is the typical linguistic proficiency index of the students at large?
Genuine question, because this is the question, and in fact before you asked this question I was about to speak to you, because if you ask me technical aspects, that goes to total linguistic department, that is our department, and we are very much concerned about such things. But here students are not much concerned, because they don't have, neither they have time nor they are interested for, then they could have opted for English only, or BA English or linguistic, all these things. So what do I tell them in the beginning of the classes? First, let me students know, you want to cover the courses or you want to grow with me? So they say, obviously they say that we want to grow, everyone wants to grow, but then I tell them, yes, you want to grow, so let's start living the life, because I start my class as an English teacher, living the life, experiencing the life, then speaking, because I really believe in that. Then I tell them, they usually come from neighboring states, and these are Hindi speaking states. I tell them, you don't do anything for English, you don't learn vocab, this, that, you just have more and more listening, because you have come here to Greater Noida after 4 or 5 years. How do you pick up the accent of Hindi here, means Hindi of this place? You will never know. You have not intentionally learnt. After 4 years you will feel that you will observe that you have left your language, accent of your language, and you are speaking of this place. Why? Because you have got the listening environment. So you create that environment, and you will not get that means standard English environment for yourself there in ordinary life. Even in classes you won't get. So what you have to do, you just take out, you all have videos, or you can have their phone, they have smartphones now, and they can use audio and video as well to practice for that. Again, language learning language, that is not their interested.
So it somewhere seems that this language laboratory is not just an academic formality or as a one semester course, it's probably an entire way of life you intend to induce in a first year student. Ma'am, what all have you done beyond this language laboratory to make it a real life experience? What all interventions have been done at the institutional level to take the learning beyond this laboratory?
As ma'am was talking about first year, and you also said again and again first year, it starts over here, but all throughout the 4 years the students have this type of interactive sessions and industrial visits, so that they go experience and then share. Then only they'll communicate and share, and this type of a process, it's all the year round, no matter it's a second year or the third year or the fourth year. And then we have debates and competitions. It starts over here in the first year, as in the second year again we have some subject called technical writing and all. but it has to be regular process, a continuous process, and this has been looked into for the 3rd and 4th all the year round, making a guest lecture or a seminar or a debate or inter-college or inter-department, this type of activity, so that they speak, and communication, personality, and as well as speaking skills, it's all interrelated. And for this, the organization is working with all the aspects, as well as we have some outsourced people also looking into this department for the personality grooming and a development kind of in the student, and as the student approaches towards the 3rd and the 4th year, because then the student has to be ready for the market. So we are into that online test, and again this type of a vocabulary test and speaking, because voice accent test, this also is being there. The student, as the student passes the 6th sem and the 7th sem, all this.
Now, how have you linked your language learning exercises to the other infrastructure which is available in the campus? Like, we just visited the central library out here. So do you have certain library reading sessions? How do you take care of the language learning in the classrooms per se, and in the other co-curricular activities across? So how do you spread the message?
Yes, that is there. We have the specific syllabus which students are not so interested with, that technical, called technical writing.
It's very
is
good
there.
that you acknowledge the same, that students really don't acknowledge the standard syllabus.
So I tell them, okay, fine, this is because they are in first year, and even I don't feel it logical, because they have given report writing, they have given proposal writing. See, if you will have a project and you have completed the project, it's very natural that if you have worked on a project, you will be in a position to write the report. When we were in college, we were not taught how to write the report, but once we have the things, we have done the project, we will see the technicalities of report and we shall write. And in first year, students are not interested in doing such things, but anyhow, just to pass the exam, so we Miss teachers and students, we all work on that. Apart from that, I have my own library at my home, and I frequently bring books of, like nowadays Chetan Bhagat is very much famous among the students, and thereafter some of the motivating books are there. So I give them, I circulate among the students, I tell them to read, and tell them, you don't, okay fine, you read, but you pick up only one sentence, one idea, and work on that idea. Maybe it will change your whole life. First thing. Second thing, I tell them, they are crazy about internet and all, so I tell them, you open the YouTube and you see interview of your person to whom you like, or film stars, because students are very much crazy about their success. They see their brighter side, but they don't see their personal sacrifice, personal life behind that screen. So I just want to see them, and they are very much interested in their personal life. Delhi Times, you must be reading Delhi Times. Day before yesterday also, there was story of Salman Khan. Means a major part of his income is going to charity, his father, as per his father's wish. So if I get these kind of things, I tell the students that, see, this is the hard effort which these famous personalities put, and once we share these kind of things, so students get interested and they try to develop these kind of interests.
So how much of the technology is coming to your assistance in grooming the linguistic aspects, the communication aspects of the students at large?
It's greatly helping me out. First, you take example of mobile phone. Earlier, what was there? Once teacher was at home, she or he did not have any connection with the students. But now, it's really very at least helpful for me, that I keep on sending messages for the day, or if I find something like I usually divide my class into 10 groups. So if 60 students are there, so 10 leaders will be there. So if I send the message to all the 10 leaders, so what I have told them, that you motivate all these students. I keep on mentoring those 10 students through books, through conversation, through their dream goal, and then I try to, because we need leaders and team worker as well. So
this entire IT paraphernalia, this software which I am seeing on my console, has not much to do. It is just an anchoring ground for the students at large, to just make them attracted that there is something.
This is the platform. Even this engineering college is the platform. We whatever basic educations which we have got, that is the platform only. I usually tell them, they come here with that regret, ma'am. finally I could not do IIT, so I am here. Then I tell them, see, IIT, they don't have the different concept. They are working on same engineering formula. You become happy that these private colleges are giving you platform to realize your dream. So we can only, when Kalamji was there in his school, so no one was knowing that school. So who knows that you and I are going to make this place.
Excellent. Ma'am, how are you linking up the other faculty members? How are you taking them on board to I think more than a language expert and more than a communication expert, you are probably ingraining the life skills and the larger personality of a student as a counselor, as a coach. So how are you taking the other faculty members on board with this philosophy?
Yes, sir. In 2010, when I went to soft skill training session sponsored by Infosys, so I went there 2009 and 10 consecutively. When I went 2009, I was very much excited that I'll do this, that, many things. But completely 1 year I could not do, and I could not explore this kind of soft skill or PDP sessions there. Formally, everything was going on, but it was somewhere I was feeling that I am not giving my 100% effort. Again 2010 I went there and I asked the trainer there that I am not happy with myself, because I think that I am not giving to the students, because classroom material which I am giving, that's not enough. But that I want to make their dream realized. This is what I want, because they all come here to realize their dream. Then he said that you start with like-minded teachers and like-minded students. So since that day I have been always in constant touch with the students, with the teachers, and we are having our team, and we are here. I have joined recently in the month of August only. So I just try to know the people, how people are here, and I have tried to know their psychology. And now I have approached to, I started from my English department. Dr. Chanchal ma'am is there. I told her, ma'am, that these grammar exercises I have been seeing since childhood. We were English students, so we used to do all those exercises, but these students are not interested, what I have found. And sir, we have really worshipped our education and our English language.
How are you supporting such innovative interventions of Dr. Mishra? She has been trying to push through going off the ceilings of this laboratory and creating a whole learning ecosystem across the campus.
We are with her, I think so. And that's why when your question was there, I was smiling, because the other day we were discussing the same thing. And I've given all, it's like a free platform.
Ma'am, let's not start with PDP class. I'll tell them that I'm not satisfied with my teaching and I have to work out on this. So last month also, Chanchal ma'am and I started making exercises, taking from newspaper, motivational, whatever motivational news are there.
I would like to Raghav add over here, unless and until some people like ma'am will be thinking out of the box, we'll not be able to just break that ice and come out of it. I think so, that is it.
Sure.
Out of the box thinking is required.
This interesting conversation can certainly go the whole day. We just have a day on United Campus, so we'll capture it yet another time, but it is for sure that it seems as if the entire campus management is very proactive in breaking the ceilings, breaking the doors, and bringing innovations on the floor, and take the engineering and management education in really a different fashion. And no doubt communication is a real core which constitutes the central basis of any higher education today. And probably that is the very reason that United has got such good placement records in comparison with the other campuses in the nearby area. So we move on to our next destination. Thanks a lot, ma'am, for such insightful insights. Thanks a lot. We are now with the chairman of the United Group of Institutions, Shri Girdhar Gulati ji, who is the force behind all the impeccable infrastructure, intellectual capital and interface which this grand institution has been taking care of. Sir, it was really an impressive talk, a walk across the entire campus. It's really nicely done. Each and every small sphere of it was each and every aspect has been taken care of. Where does this sensitivity emanates from? ये संजीदगी और ये जो संवेदनशीलता है एक एजुकेशनल कैंपस को डिराइव करने की, where it has all come from?
First of all, thank you for your compliments that you have liked our institutions. You see, we have a very great source with us. That is our father, late Shivram Das Gulati. The main inspiring force for the hard work, honesty and dedication has come from him only. He was of the opinion, and my mother, they want that some girls' school should be during their lifetime, which we could not because he expired in 1973 in an accident. So we have converted our old house, which has a 22 rooms at Allahabad, for the girls, small girls' sites. And we started from there. Then we started our computer courses, self-design courses from Allahabad, and then this became a foundation of our education field. We were operating from 7 centers throughout the UP, Kanpur, Allahabad, Banaras, Gorakhpur, like this. When this privatization came in 1997, then we entered into the degree course and we closed that diploma and all centers also. With you people and with the grace of the God and the support of the society, we have now running 9 institutions, all technical institutions, affiliated with AICT and university. So that is our history and whatever you can say source. The source is not anything to be explained. It is the come out of the society or from the, you can say it's not in market, but it's, you can say in the, from the market side. When the people like it, naturally you will grow and you will go there.
Sir, educational enterprise per se, by its very design and its very positioning, cannot be like any other business. Like there is a general perception like that educational institutions, the kind of commitment and the kind of dedication which is required is probably invisible outside. People have a different perception. So would you like to throw more light about the kind of commitment, and because United being a diversified group, you have your footprints in the transportation business, you have your footprints in the media sector as well, you run a daily United Bharat and other businesses. So how do you see educational enterprise as a different business altogether?
I am not saying it's exactly a separate. It is the perception of the community which you cannot change it. So it's a very difficult, even the government, even the private sector, even the businessman, even the general, I mean warden, even thinks that we are professionals and we are here for the businessman. But I can say for our family and our United Group, if we would have a professional or businessman, only would have been one institution, that is UCR is sufficient in Allahabad. It has been established, we don't need more institutions. But to reach to the society, we have all investment put into back to the, we are not taking any money from this institution. Our whole Gulati family is having their bread and butter from other businesses. We are investing all our funds in this, in the growth. And you see our infrastructure, everywhere you like it. Everywhere is a greenery, the labs are there, the equality labs are there, faculty we hire it that. So one man cannot change. It is the society who realize that we are not a businessman, only then it can be changed. I can.
So that's really wonderful, like because the kind of endowment which is required to build up really world-class institutions is quite huge. What kind of vision has United set for itself in years to come, and where it wants to see itself in the space of higher technical education?
You see, we had our vision and mission, if you go through, and we thought about it. And by the time our plans are there, we would have reached to the abroad also with the foreign types. But with due regard, whether you quote or unquote, we never get any cooperation from the state government or the central government, because they have also perception that we are a businessman. If we go for a collaboration with any university, they will not allow. If we want to expand, supposing in this institution, AICT will not allow any other courses. UP state government is also, so hurdles are there. That's why this is presently no institution will like to go further because of non-cooperation of the government departments.
So how stifling you find the regulatory framework as of now? Recently, the powers of AICT have been given away to the UGC. UGC is considering the new guidelines of regulating the higher technical education. So what are your key prescriptions for the policy regulators at large to consider the plea of excellent institutions like yours, who have been into the industry for over a quarter of a century? You are closing of your silver jubilee maybe in 2 years. So what are your five key things which you want from the regulators, which for institutions like yours should be imparted to you?
Actually, we want to be, because we are a self-financed institutions, we want a full autonomy. Certainly, some regulatory body like AICT or UGC, whatever it may be, they should remain. Otherwise, we will not be in control.
So, what kind of autonomy?
Fee structure, they. Samaj Kalyan, they. Fees waiver, they. Why? When we are not getting any help from them, even you have to pay full value of the land. Even you pay all the taxes. There is no rebate even in electricity or any form. Even in the library, if you want to purchase books of 30 lakhs, you will not get any concession or subsidization there. It is our wish and will how we can negotiate with them. But when we are not getting any help from them, then why we should subsidize ourselves? Why not we should grow more and give the better product, better students for the society?
So autonomy in terms of fee is probably the one thing which you are looking for.
Everywhere. We should be allowed to have any courses which are recommended, regulated by the government. Any type. We fulfill with the norms, the regulatory body norms. We should be allowed. They say no. UP states no. This is the higher limit. Whichever institution will not go the fees. Whether your balance sheet, whatever is fixed. We can't pay much more money to our teachers because of their limitation. When we receive less, naturally we can't pay more to them. So how we can? So as far as the AICT or UGC is concerned, it is a pure political move. I am telling you, it is a pure political move. Because everybody in the country is not चोर जिसको कहते हैं आप लोग हिंदू, सब चोर हैं. If you say the police, all politicians are, then how the country is running? If all politicians are thief, then how the country is running? If all colleges are bribing or taking undue independence, how they are running? How they are surviving? It means majority of the peoples are nice in our country, but nobody likes it.
So there has been a move there have been dual kind of regulation. At a central level, we have a body like AICT, now maybe the UGC, or maybe after the amendment of the AICT Act, it might again come. And we also have the state technical universities. So how do you think the regulatory framework of this country should be designed optimally? There has to be an optimality. You can't regulate each and every small aspect of a buzzing industry and a framework as sensitive as education is concerned. So what is your ideal regulation framework which you would like to envisage for?
Actually, there should be one system, one rule throughout the country. You know, income tax is being paid by each and every individual throughout the country, the same pattern. There is no relief, there is no state government has no interference. Excise department, there is no interference. You will find there is no problems. When state comes into that, they will frame the work, the rules, they will act. The central government will frame the act and they will frame their own rules. Then two-tier policy is there and it all destroyed the game. Regulatory body for education should be only one on the basis of central government. And that should be for all. Whether it is a government institution, whether it is a self-financed or joint venture, but all rules should be one. Either state government should not be allowed. State government should also see that their institutions are running as per the central government policy, that's all. Because they influence, suppose there is a Supreme Court ruling also, that there should be no quota levied upon the private institution like us. But in the last 5 years we were debarred from them. Then 50% reservation is still with us. Why? 50% you see is not a small amount. Now 5% waiver scheme is there. We will teach 5% student free. Whether we get another 95 or not, but 5% we have to teach them the free.
Okay.
So these systems are deteriorating.
So you are in favor of a loose market-driven policy with some larger regulations in place which are uniform across the length and breadth of the country.
Yes.
Okay.
One policy, uniform policy. Let them regulate on the central level, let them regulate on the state level, district level, but it should be the same. As like our, you can say the act is there, income tax department is there, central election like that.
So, sir, in your opinion, it's somewhere coming that it's the regulatory framework which is somewhere jeopardizing the growth of institutions like United to the next level of research and innovation and things like that. What is your opinion?
But I will say yes, so I'll be caught. But it is certainly, it's a truth. Yes.
Instead of moving to a whole private university, you are still continuing to be under the ambit of now the UP Technical University, which has again been demerged, so what's your opinion about a private university versus a state technical university controlled institution?
You see, the private university, certainly they are must be the best if they are allowed. You see, throughout the country, beyond India, you will find their private universities are working and they are doing well.
Okay.
You know, you have quoted Cambridge University, Oxford, whatever you say, Leeds University, all are doing well because they are absolutely independent and they are giving the fruits, charging heavy fees, no problem. But still they are providing the better product for our country. For our country even, our students are going there, which we can't do here. Because again the regulations are there. For our sake, you know, we are going to have a 24 years of age in this education. But we have not been allowed to have an university at Allahabad. Our proposal is pending from the last 3 years. They are not forwarding it. Sometimes land problem is there. Sometimes somebody don't desires. Why? When I am fulfilling all the regulations, I should be provided. Why should I go to the queue? Why should I wait for 3 years? I have purchased 100-acre lands and I have not been allowed to have a university there. They said, go to the Bijnor, go to the Rampur, there you form the university. Allahabad has it. I said, why? It's my option, where should I be? But no. But how can I do it? If I go to the Supreme Court, High Court, there also I am not sure whether they will do it. They will simply say, decide their case within 30 days. They say, go rejected. That's all. So they are not promoting this. Though the country need. Mr. Kapil said, we need 22,000 universities by the 2021. How it is possible? When you are not allowing the person who desires, who want to invest their funds themselves, they should allow them. Let them have a competition among the universities. What is the harm in it?
So despite all the challenges which you are facing on the regulatory front and all, you are probably doing a fair job. What is all in that focus, and what is in your plan to take United Group forward?
No, certainly we have plans, we are doing our best, but we still will grow, we'll find out. We are now planning to, since we are not getting any help from that, we are going in the schools also.
Okay.
Because we have to serve the society from our society.
So technology is being seen as a big disruptor. After the advent of these massive open online courses, there is a global talk that the conventional campuses will disrupt, will go out by 2020 or in the next years or so. So what is the technological vision? How you are taking technology in your teaching and learning processes at the entire United Group?
You see, technology is no doubt it's a good, but in our country it is not possible. Everyone want to do his work by his own hand. Certainly there is much technology is coming, but it is confined only to the centers. It is not been publicly accepted by the.
But are you not seeing it as an enabler, as a quality enhancer, as a big boost to the quality of education which is being imparted?
You see, yesterday I visited the Noida IIM campus.
Okay.
It was, I think, more than 50 acres. And you know how maybe 2,000 students only. They have built an auditorium that is maybe, I think, maybe of 70 crores of rupees for one auditorium.
Okay.
And they are charging 8 lakh, 10 lakh fees. The same thing they are teaching. We are having auditorium, we are having all the lab. They are charging 8 lakh fees, we are charging 70,000 fees. Now how can we go for the technologies when they are not going?
Okay.
They are capable for it. They have a sufficient money. All the IIMs have the crores of FDs with them. Still they are getting grants. They are not going for that. They are not providing that too much of technology available. Then how can we?
So it's more of the financial issue, or it's more of the outlook issue?
Certainly both things are there. If we have a financial, then we create the outlook.
Okay.
If we have outlook and we get the finance, we will do it. It's a reciprocal system.
Okay. Sir, we saw some very fine projects down the line which your corporate relations center has been pushing through in your mechanical engineering department. So what is the vision of United to enter into some alliances and some research tie-ups per se?
We are trying our tie-up, but again that this key system of the government is not. But we are certainly in the private sector. We are trying to have associated with the industries, and we are putting their schemes in our college. But again, that industry people are saying, you go to the FICCI, CI, what is it? They are saying that earlier they are coming to us in our campus, and now we are going to approach them. So again, they have withdrawn. Earlier, industry needs, they should get a student from us. They were approaching, and now we are approaching. They say, no, we are getting the student to be online. There are so many our franchisees are. Why you should go for campus? So the entire scenes has been being changed. Even the students have no confidence over the institutions whether they get the job or not, or if their job is there, whether they will be retained by the industry or not. Suppose their industry is not in a better scope, they will chutney kar denge. So uncertainty is being prevailed now. A system is, so God knows how this thing will be.
I think the entire larger socio-political and economic uncertainty which is prevalent in the country as a whole is having its toll on the educational system as well, which was traditionally considered to be absorbing all the changes, all the challenges across the larger economic slowdown, the industrial apathy towards inducting more and more students, the stifling regulatory framework. Despite all the key challenges, probably the United Group of institutions is doing a fair job. Their sheer commitment to be in education for the last 23 years is speaking by itself. We hope that the institution will continue its fight, and as the name United grow, the entire Gulati family is united in its entire mission and vision of taking the higher technical education to higher levels. We would now be moving to the core interface area which the Corporate Relations Center of United Group is taking forward. So we had Mr. Girdhar Gulati with us on candid conversation regarding the entire space of higher technical education. Yes. We have now come to the close of this exciting campus walks of the United Group of Institutions Greater Noida. Having seen the impressive infrastructure across various blocks, having interacted with the various faculty members and departments, how the intellectual capital is being generated out here, and after having been illumined about the key governance challenges which the institution is facing at large, we are now focusing upon the interface options, the large scale interfaces which the institution is entering with the corporates, with the PSUs, with the other employers across the board. Ms. Mona Gulati-Puri, who heads the Corporate Relationship Center at United Group of Institutions, is with us. She has been with us since morning, explaining us the entire efforts and initiatives which United has been making despite the terrific challenges and the ecosystem problems. Ma'am, what has been the core focus of the Corporate Relationship Center at United?
The focus is to present, to produce the quality engineers. No matter whatever raw hand we get, the raw students from 12th coming to, as in Santramji also said, that it was engineers, they come and they don't know actually what engineering is. But our focus over here is to develop that quality and present to the market whatever the students move out after completion of 4-year or degree course. They should be able to handle everything, and they should as a life as well as professional, both the skills, and that can be only done if the grooming is done well from day 1 to the 4th year student, last 4 years, every second, no matter it's only language or learning or bookish, but yes, they should be ready for the market and employability, whatever. But the product moving out from the United should speak, no matter without words, silence speaks better.
Ma'am, do you come into force only when the student is in the final year, or does your relationship with the student starts from day 0 when he enters the college?
It's day 0 because input decides the output. The processing starts day 1. The moment the student is in the campus, the gate of the campus of United, the student is with me, with the organization, with the direct contact with the management whenever they feel like. And as I told you, the grooming cannot be started ki 4th year mein the student is there, now I start working because I'm looking after the corporate relations and then only the 4th year starts. No, I cannot do wonders in one day. We need time, and that is inculcated the moment the student enters the college, the 0 day or day 1, whatever you call.
Since you are responsible for duly placing your students at the various corporations, how do you drive the entire establishment to fall in line with the goals and requirements of the employers per se?
As I discussed in the morning also, we have a very strong industry interface. We give a platform to the, we try to bring both the industry as well the college together. The student who's not aware what actually the industry want, and the industry cannot do anything because they don't know how the raw hands work. So we try to merge them or bridge that gap and bring that to the same platform. We have many people from the industry helping us out. They tell us what their requirement actually is, what is the market's requirement, and what the market is looking into for the, so that they don't also have to shell that energy or their like manpower on the training part. We try to do everything in-house, no matter it is in the 3rd year or the 4th year, and present the student ki yes, they are polished, they are actually according to your set goals, what you are aiming for, and that is it, how this is working out over here.
What are the key 5 traits which defines a united product?
Sincerity, honesty, hard work, responsibility, and then comes the life is yours.
This exciting walk at your campus. Sincerity, hard work, dedication, the core values which the United Group has been taking along since 1951, and as Girdhar Gulati sir himself told, the core passion, the core vision comes from their founder Shri Srivratan Das Gulati ji. The United family is really making a dent in the higher technical education space of the country. They do have their own challenges, they do have their pitfalls, they do have their own lacuna, but despite all of them, there is a tremendous amount of hope, there is a tremendous amount of energy, and most importantly, the most important facet, the tremendous amount of sincerity towards the life of the students who are being groomed out here is something which has touched us all in this campus walk. We would be back again with yet another campus and yet another co-host with us in our next edition. Till then, goodbye. Thank you.